Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off our presentation today with the theme of quality. This is our first slide, so I just want to warmly welcome you all and set the stage. Our focus will be on understanding what quality really means and how it impacts our work. We'll explore key concepts, best practices, and practical strategies to enhance quality in everything we do. So let's get started and dive into this important topic together. Let's take a closer look at what's on this slide. First, we have the word contents, which outlines the main topics we'll cover today. Moving down, the first key point is characters. This likely refers to the individuals or personas involved in our discussion on quality. Next, we see title quality, emphasizing that our focus throughout this presentation is on the concept of quality itself. Then there's character sketch, which suggests we'll explore the traits and qualities of the characters or elements that define quality in our context. Following that, we have prose 5, which might indicate a specific section or example related to prose writing, possibly illustrating quality through language and expression. Finally, we see theme quality, reinforcing that the overarching theme tying all these points together is quality. This slide provides a roadmap for our discussion, connecting the idea of quality to various aspects like character traits, specific examples, and thematic exploration. Understanding these components will help us grasp the broader significance of quality in our subject matter. Let's take a closer look at characters. When we talk about characters in a story or presentation, we're referring to the people, animals, or even entities that drive the narrative forward. They are the heart of any story because they create connection and engagement. Understanding our characters involves exploring their traits, motivations, and relationships, which helps us make the story more relatable and compelling. Highlighting key points, it's important to remember that characters should be well-developed, consistent, and authentic. This ensures the audience stays invested and emotionally connected. Connecting this to our overall theme, strong characters are what make messages memorable. Whether we're crafting a story, a presentation, or a message, well-designed characters help communicate our ideas effectively and leave a lasting impression. Jessler Brothers. I've known this shop since I was young because Jessler, the bootmaker, was the person who made my father's boots. It's interesting how certain places leave a lasting impression, isn't it? Jessler actually lived with his elder brother, which was quite common at the time, family working and living closely together. Their shop was tucked away in a small by-street, and what's notable is that it was in a fashionable part of London. This detail helps us understand the kind of clientele they served and gives us a sense of the social setting. Connecting this to the overall theme, it shows how local craftsmanship and family businesses played a role in shaping the character of the city and its history. The Jessler Brothers' shop had a certain quiet distinction about it. There was no flashy sign or anything overly showy, just the simple name Gessler Brothers in the window, along with a few pairs of boots on display. This understated appearance really reflected the nature of the place. Jessler Brothers were German immigrants, and they were truly passionate and dedicated bootmakers. They didn't make boots just to sell in large quantities. They crafted each pair on order, paying close attention to the specific needs of their customers. It's important to note that they belonged to the lower social stratum, which meant they were quite humble in their circumstances. Despite that, what they produced was of excellent quality. The boots they made always fit perfectly, which was a real skill. However, because their boots were so well-made and durable, they lasted a long time, and that meant I didn't get to visit the shop very often. I didn't need to replace my boots very often. This shop's quiet, honest approach and dedication to quality really stand out, and it ties into the larger theme of craftsmanship and integrity in work that runs throughout this presentation. So one day I visited the shop to get a pair of Russian leather boots. I remember I was just waiting patiently, seated on a simple wooden chair. Then, Mr. Jessler came down the stairs. He wasn't wearing a coat, looked a little bent, and was dressed in his usual leather apron with the sleeves turned back. When he took my order, he went back upstairs, and after some time, he returned holding a beautiful piece of leather, gold-brown in color. He called it a beautiful piece, which shows his pride in his craftsmanship. After I approved it, he told me that the boots would be ready tomorrow fortnight, meaning in about a fortnight. This little story highlights the care and attention to detail that goes into making these leather boots, emphasizing the craftsmanship and patience involved. It also connects to the overall theme of quality and tradition in leatherwork. So imagine one day I walk into the boot shop and I mention that the last pair of boots I bought from Mr. Jessler was creaking. This sets the scene for a typical reaction to a complaint. Jessler is quite surprised and can't believe what he's hearing. He responds with, "It shouldn't have creaked," showing his disbelief and perhaps a bit of defensiveness. Then, still curious, he asks, "Did you get them wet?" Which is his way of trying to understand what might have caused the issue. I deny that I got the boots wet, so there's a little back and forth. After a moment of silence, Jessler finally says, "Then bring them back, I'll look at them," indicating he's willing to inspect the boots to see what's wrong. He also quietly adds, "Some boots are bad from birth," which is an important point. Sometimes, defects are present from the very beginning, not just from misuse or wear. This exchange highlights the importance of communication when dealing with complaints, and it also touches on quality issues that might be beyond the customer's control. Ultimately, it shows how a simple complaint can open a dialogue about product quality and customer service. So, here I want to talk about the hardships faced in Jessler's trade and the core conflict behind it. There was this one time I absent-mindedly walked into the Jessler brothers' shop, wearing a different boot, one I had bought in a rush from a big company. Jessler's reaction was quite telling. He looked visibly disturbed. He took my order without even bothering to show any leather, which was unusual. What really caught my attention was his gaze. He looked directly at my shoes and he said, "Dose are not my boots." That tone, so calm, almost devoid of anger or sorrow, still froze me in my tracks. Feeling quite bitter, I responded, "Dose big verms ave no ss self-respect. Dey get it all by advertisement, not by work. Dey take it away who love our boots. Every year id gets less." This exchange highlights a key point. It's not just about shoes or a shop, but about the deeper struggle, how big corporations are overshadowing genuine craftsmanship. It's about the loss of respect for true quality, replaced by mass advertising and quick profits. And this, I believe, ties into our overall theme, the challenge of maintaining integrity and craftsmanship in a changing world. Let's take a moment to reflect on the author's sense of compassion. Initially, he listened as the man shared the struggles he faced in his profession. Even after the author explained the situation with those unfortunate boots, you could see the disappointment in Mr. Jessler's voice and expression. It was clear that he was feeling down. So, in response, the author decided to order several pairs of boots that were more durable and longer-lasting than ever before. This act of kindness meant that the author didn't have the chance to meet Mr. Jessler again for the next 2 years. This story highlights the importance of empathy and understanding, showing how a little compassion can make a real difference in someone's life. It also ties into our overall theme of how genuine care and thoughtful actions can have lasting impacts. So many months later, I remember entering the shop and I thought I saw Elder Jessler there, so I asked him, "How are you?" He looked at me carefully and replied, "I am pretty well, but my elder brother is dead." Hearing that, I felt genuinely sorry for him. Jessler then continued, quite feebly, "He was a good man, he made good boots." At this point, I noticed that the younger Jessler had also become quite weak. He showed me a piece of leather and asked, "Do you want any boots?" I ordered several pairs, which were delivered very late, but I have to say, they were better than ever. Shortly after that, I left the country and went abroad. This story highlights the passing of Elder Jessler and his lasting dedication to his craft, which ties into our broader theme of resilience and commitment to quality in our work. So one last time at the shop, after a whole year, soon after I arrived in London, the very first shop I stepped into was Jessler Brothers. When I met Mr. Jessler, he looked to be about 75, actually much older than his real age of 60. He seemed pinched and worn, giving off an appearance of someone who had been through a lot. Now, understanding that he might not truly recognize me right away, I decided to be straightforward. I said, "I want boots of every kind." Just a simple request, but it summed up my needs perfectly. When the boots arrived, I immediately tried them on and without hesitation, posted the signed check at once. This moment is important because it shows my confidence in his craftsmanship and my readiness to settle the bill immediately. It also highlights a recurring theme in my story, that of trusting in quality and the importance of making decisive, timely decisions in business. So, a week later, I was passing by that little street again, and I found myself thinking about Gessler. I was actually considering telling him how well his new boots fit him, imagining how pleased he would be. It's interesting how small thoughts can cross our minds even when we're just going about our day. When I entered the shop, I immediately noticed something was different. The name board was changed, which told me that Gessler was no longer there. Instead, there was an English man standing behind the counter. Naturally, I asked him about Gessler, curious to know how he was doing. That's when I received the sad news: he was dead. The man added that Gessler had starved to death. This moment really hit me. It was a stark reminder of how fragile life can be, especially for someone like Gessler, who perhaps struggled quietly. This story connects deeply with our overall theme today, about human dignity, resilience, and the often unseen hardships people endure. Gessler's demise is a poignant example of how life can turn unexpectedly, and how important it is to recognize and empathize with others' struggles. When I asked out of curiosity, starvation, the Englishman explained something quite revealing about Gessler. He said that Gessler worked tirelessly day and night making high-quality boots. But because of his relentless effort, he didn't really have time to take care of himself. Despite his hard work, he was only able to produce a small quantity of boots, which meant his income was quite limited. He had just enough money to cover his rent and buy leather, nothing more. What's really interesting is that this man also certified Gessler as the only person in London who made such good quality boots. And I, too, agreed with that assessment. This story highlights an important point about dedication and craftsmanship. Sometimes, even with exceptional skill, the amount you can produce and earn is constrained by the amount of time and energy you can invest. It ties into the broader theme of the presentation, which is about understanding the value of quality versus quantity, and how hard work alone doesn't always lead to abundance. Let's take a closer look at Prose 5. This section emphasizes the importance of clarity and precision in our communication. When we craft our messages, it's crucial to focus on key points that resonate with our audience and support our overall goals. By being thorough yet conversational, we make our content more engaging and easier to understand. Highlighting the most important concepts helps ensure our message sticks. Remember, connecting these points to the bigger picture is what makes our communication effective and impactful. So, as we go forward, keep these principles in mind to enhance our ability to convey ideas clearly and convincingly. Now, let's take a closer look at Prose 5. Here, I want to emphasize the importance of clear and compelling storytelling in our communication. It's not just about sharing facts, it's about engaging our audience on a deeper level. When we craft our message effectively, we can inspire action and foster understanding. This ties into the overall theme of our presentation, which is about mastering the art of impactful communication. Remember, the key points here are to be authentic, to connect emotionally, and to ensure our message resonates. These elements are essential for making our ideas memorable and driving the desired outcomes. Let's talk about quality, which is a crucial aspect of any successful project or process. When we focus on quality, we're really aiming to meet or exceed expectations and ensure that the outcomes are reliable and valuable. It's about paying attention to the details that make a difference, from the initial design to the final delivery. Quality isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about fostering continuous improvement and maintaining high standards throughout. This helps us build trust with our stakeholders and supports the overall success of our efforts. Remember, Consistent quality ties directly into the overall theme of excellence and operational efficiency that we've been emphasizing throughout this presentation. Let's talk about the importance of quality. In today's highly competitive business world, maintaining a high standard is crucial, and the Gessler brothers understood that well. They achieved this by being very selective about the raw materials they used, ensuring that only the best went into their products. This commitment to quality helped them stand out and build a reputation for excellence. But quality isn't just about materials. It's also about the human qualities that support a strong business. The Gessler brothers demonstrated remarkable human qualities by supporting and trusting each other, a key factor in their long-lasting success. Their teamwork and mutual support allowed them to retain customers across generations, creating a legacy built on trust and consistent quality. So, when we think about quality, it's not just the physical aspect of the products, but also the integrity, support, and relationships that underpin a successful business. It's these qualities that have helped the Gessler brothers thrive in a competitive environment and leave a lasting impact. Now, let's focus on the theme of quality. Quality is really the foundation of everything we do. It's not just about meeting standards, but about exceeding expectations and delivering value. When we talk about quality, we're emphasizing the importance of consistency, reliability, and excellence in our processes and products. This concept ties directly into our overall goal of continuous improvement. By maintaining high quality, we build trust with our customers and stakeholders, which is essential for long-term success. It's about making sure that every aspect of our work reflects our commitment to excellence. Remember, quality isn't a one-time effort. It's an ongoing journey. It requires attention to detail, a proactive mindset, and a culture that encourages feedback and innovation. When we prioritize quality in every step, we not only enhance our reputation, but also create a solid foundation for sustainable growth. When we look at this slide, fight, we're really highlighting the struggles faced by traditional workers during a transformative period. These workers were engaged in a battle, often a losing one, against the sweeping forces of the Industrial Revolution. It's important to understand that their fight wasn't just about labor, but about preserving their way of life, their skills, and their livelihoods. As the Industrial Revolution gained momentum in the 20th century, it brought rapid technological advances and new ways of producing goods. While these innovations fueled economic growth, they also disrupted established industries and traditional employment. The workers, who had relied on manual skills and community-based work, found themselves facing overwhelming change. This slide underscores a key theme in our overall discussion: the tension between tradition and progress. It's a reminder of how difficult it can be for those caught in the crossfire of such massive societal shifts. Their struggle, though often unsuccessful, highlights the human side of industrial transformation, how it affects real people and their communities. So, as we move forward, remember that behind every technological leap, there are stories of perseverance and loss. These stories are essential for understanding the full impact of industrial progress on workers and society as a whole. Let's take a closer look at the character sketch. This part is all about understanding the key traits and qualities that define the main figures we've been discussing. When we analyze character sketches, we're essentially trying to grasp what drives these individuals, their motivations, and how they influence the overall story or theme. It's important to highlight that a well-developed character sketch helps us see the human side of the story, making it more relatable and engaging. As we go through these sketches, keep in mind how each character's traits connect back to the bigger picture, whether that's a moral lesson, a cultural insight, or a specific message the presentation aims to convey. Remember, the goal here is to understand not just who these characters are, but how their personalities and actions support the overall theme. This helps us appreciate the depth and complexity of the narrative, bringing us closer to the core ideas we're exploring today. Let's take a closer look at the phases of the plot. First, it's important to understand that a well-structured story typically moves through several key stages. These stages help us build tension and keep the audience engaged from start to finish. The first phase is usually the exposition, where we introduce the characters, setting, and the initial situation. This is where the audience gets to know the world of the story. Next comes the rising action, where conflicts and challenges start to develop. This is often the longest part of the story, as it builds suspense and deepens our connection to the characters. Then, we reach the climax, the most intense and pivotal moment in the plot. This is where everything comes to a head. Following the climax, we have the falling action, where the story begins to wind down. Loose ends are tied up, and the consequences of the climax are explored. Finally, there's the resolution or denouement, which provides closure and leaves the audience with a sense of completion. Understanding these phases helps us craft stories that are engaging and meaningful, connecting all the elements of character, conflict, and theme seamlessly. So, as we come to the final slide, I want to highlight the different types of conflicts that really shape this story. First, there's the internal conflict, Mr. Gessler versus his own destiny. This is about his personal struggles, doubts, and the choices he faces within himself. It shows how much internal battles can influence someone's path and decisions. Then, on the external side, we see the Gesslers, shop versus big firms. This represents the classic clash between small, family-run businesses and large, corporate competitors. It's a struggle for survival, relevance, and maintaining their identity in a changing market. Connecting these points to our overall theme, it's clear that both internal and external conflicts are intertwined. They drive the narrative and help us understand the resilience and determination required to face such challenges. This story isn't just about business. It's about personal growth and standing firm against larger forces.